Here with this very unique reaction, Louisiana Senator John Kennedy. You know, Senator, great to have you. I've had a lot of interns work on this show over the year. I can't think of a bad one that I've ever had. But if a group of interns ever pulled anything like that on me, I would say, bye-bye. Who's running that White House?
Because they have been taught this, we now know that many of our young people believe in diversity, equity, inclusion, and the right to kill Jews. And they don't see the inconsistency in that. They don't see the irony in that. And I think the reaction of most fair-minded Americans to that position, certainly my reaction, is pass me the sick bucket. I agree with you. If I were President Biden, I would call all of my interns in and tell them, I'm sorry they're upset. They should go buy an emotional support pony, but they're fired. I don't think President Biden will do this. I can't imagine. I can't imagine working for an employer. It's okay to disagree with your boss, but I can't imagine working for an employer, writing him a formal letter, leaking it to NBC, and then daring the employer to do something about it. And probably the White House will do nothing about it, just like they have done very little to deter our enemies throughout the world.
Let me ask you about China, for example. We see them confronting our fighter jets in international airspace. They confront our Navy in international waters. The spy balloon, unfair trade practices. We don't have free and fair trade, intellectual property theft, spy balloons, all this combined. And Joe Biden has done nothing. What does that say about Joe Biden? Do you think in any way it might be connected to all the money that the Biden family made out of China?
Well, what it tells me is that the Biden administration would rather debate whether men can breastfeed than protect the interests of this country. Look, reality has a way of bruising people that don't respect it. And the sad reality is that our enemies, China, Russia, North Korea, Iran, are not scared of President Biden. And for good reason. It was President Biden who abandoned Afghanistan. It was President Biden who removed the sanctions on Russia's Nord Stream 2 pipeline. It was President Biden who killed the FBI's China initiative. It was President Biden who has refused to give Ukraine the weapons that it needs to win. It was President Biden who removed the sanctions on Venezuela. It was President Biden who refuses to respond to the recent attacks on American troops by Iran in Syria and Iraq and the Red Sea. I think if President Biden had been president when Japan attacked Pearl Harbor, he would have appointed a task force to see what we did to offend them.
Let me ask you, Senator, let me ask you this. Can you name a single thing, a single policy that Joe Biden has implemented that has benefited the American people? Because I cannot.
I can't. I'm trying. I want to be fair to the president. I don't hate anyone, but I just... I can't. And our enemies, Sean, see what a majority of the American people see. This may not be fair or unfair, accurate or inaccurate. Our enemies and a majority of Americans think the president is older than time, his family has corruption problems, and his vice president is weak. And people act accordingly.
We cannot have you on enough. Let's give a big hand, Senator. We appreciate you being with us. As always, Senator Kennedy.